Hey, what is up, everybody? This is Stevie Breach coming to you here today, talking all about the upcoming Money in the Bank match. This is one of my favorite matches. This is one that basically sets the tone of the summer to me, honestly, in WWE. Um, it's going to be a fun time. I've made some videos in the past few weeks basically saying since WrestleMania for the last 2 months, I have not been 100% with the product. I didn't really think that the Payback pay-per-view or the Extreme Rules pay-per-view really, capitalized off of the success of WrestleMania 32. It was almost like for the last 2 months, they've just sort of pushed some stuff out there and basically said AJ Styles and Roman Reigns are going to go out there and have good matches. And that's all that really happens. I mean, there's been some other things on the Extreme Rules pay-per-view, the Fatal 4-Way for the Intercontinental title with Miz, Cesaro, Sami Zayn, and Kevin Owens was a really good match. But to me, honestly, there was no buzz behind it. And I know, like, when I put in, like, compilation DVDs, sometimes there'll be really good matches on there. But I don't really remember the story of what got them to this point, or I don't really remember things that made this match good. And that's sort of what I feel like. In the last 2 months, I've really fallen away from making sure that I watch Raw, making sure that I watch SmackDown. I listen to reviews, I watch a couple videos, and just sort of get to the point. But to me, honestly, when June comes and the Money in the Bank briefcase comes into play, it makes every episode of Monday Night Raw, maybe not SmackDown, every pay-per-view means something. I mean, when you do prediction videos from here on out, you're always going to have to talk about what is going on with the guy with the Money in the Bank briefcase. Sometimes they make this guy hot right out of the gate to show you that this Money in the Bank briefcase can elevate somebody to becoming the champion at any point at any time. Sometimes, like with Seth Rollins, you sort of get to the point where you forget the guy has the Money in the Bank briefcase because he holds on to it for so long. And in Seth Rollins' case, I almost felt like the Money in the Bank briefcase was almost like the WWE Championship for a while because Brock Lesnar didn't bother to show up to work between SummerSlam and the Royal Rumble. There was no WWE Championship, which mainly made Seth Rollins' Money in the Bank briefcase null and void because it doesn't have 24/7 rules. As far as I know, the match has to be held inside of the ring. Rollins can't really go up to Brock Lesnar's farm, attack the guy while he's on a tractor, take him out, and pin him there. I mean, there's no way to become the champion if the champion's not showing up to work. So that's mainly one of the reasons why you have it. And also, like, you go back to Daniel Bryan when he had the Money in the Bank briefcase. Daniel Bryan had the Money in the Bank briefcase and didn't even win at SummerSlam that year. He lost a match to Wade Barrett. Barrett was good. I mean, I like Wade Barrett, but I mean, like, if you're trying to showcase this guy as he's going to be making his way to the top and could win the championship at any point, he doesn't lose at SummerSlam to Wade Barrett. I was really surprised by that. But they're setting the tone. We've got 5 of the 7 competitors for the Money in the Bank briefcase match set by matches that were held on Monday Night Raw last night. We had Owens, Sami Zayn, Chris Jericho, Cesaro, and Ambrose. So we had all 3 members of the Intercontinental Championship. Apologize because Miz lost. So we've got 3 of the 4 competitors from the Intercontinental Championship. Miz held onto the title, so more than likely with the Money in the Bank, in years past, it's been really bad because you've had to have, it was last year that they crowned, or no, that was the year before. They had to have a ladder match for the WWE Championship. So that put, like, the 7 top guys in the company into one match. And then you actually had the Money in the Bank briefcase, which sort of put some lesser guys and some definite low-card, mid-card guys into the match. This year, it looks like we're only going to have one thing, because you're going to have a championship match, which is going to be Roman Reigns going up against the returning Seth Rollins, and then you'll have these 7 guys, which sort of makes, like, the mid-card, the rest of the show fall off a little bit. Looks like Sheamus is going to have a match going up against Apollo Crews. Looks like Enzo and Kaz will be going up against the New Day for the tag team titles. So we'll be putting together the rest of the card as we go along. But right now, you've got 5 of the top 7 guys in the company booked into the match. 2 spots left. I honestly thought that the 2 matches that were announced for SmackDown were going to be the last ones, which sort of made it a little bit weird. I know that they have an Intercontinental match with The Miz, and I know they have a United States Championship match with Rusev, and I sort of thought that might really make the match sort of tip off. But those are actually championship matches, so to find out who the last 2 guys are they going to try and heat something up? I could see easily waiting until Monday Night Raw next week. I don't know who would be going up against. Maybe AJ Styles going up against, let's say, Sheamus. And Apollo Crews comes out to make sure that Sheamus loses once again for Sheamus messing with him on Raw. Then the other one that gets filled, I guess you have to look at the rest of the people who lost along the way. I don't think that Apollo Crews is going to get into this match. Like I said, he has the match against Sheamus probably. But that would be a huge lift to Apollo Crews. I'll be 100% honest. I was really fired up when he debuted at the Raw after WrestleMania. But I didn't really realize until last night with his segment and his match against Jericho, we haven't really seen this guy at all, and he wasn't injured. It's almost like this guy fell off the face of the earth. He lost his last match in NXT, which sort of makes me think that maybe Triple H and the NXT team wasn't really ready to let him go, because you think that somebody would. I know it's all about like doing jobs. NXT is almost like a promotion back in the old days, but I don't know. NXT normally doesn't have people lose on the way out unless it's like Kevin Owens. Where he loses a chance to go after the title, not just loses a match out of the blue against Samoa Joe. So it almost makes me think that maybe, not Triple H, but Vince McMahon saw Apollo Crews. Everybody knows the story about Vince McMahon and Bobby Lashley back in the day when he was going through developmental. He really wasn't ready to be brought up to the main roster, and Vince saw him at a television taping and said, "I want that guy." And he came up to the main roster, and he had a lot of matches against Fit Finlay because Fit Finlay was trying to teach him on the job, because everyone that was down in developmental knew that Bobby Lashley wasn't ready. And if they would have had at least another year with him, Court Bauer always says if he would have had at least 2 years in developmental, how good Bobby Lashley really would have been and been able to have been a major player in WWE. But like I said, I really want AJ Styles to go into this match. I made a video last night talking about where they could be going. We saw the breakup of the club. Definitely with the Monday Night Raw 5-point preview, they sort of plugged into thinking that it was going to be the New Day going up against Doc Gallows and Machine Gun Carl Anderson. Doesn't look like they're going to be going in that direction. So what are they going to be doing with these guys? I think there's a chance they might be doing a tag match, which could be the debut of Finn Balor that we'll talk about for years and years, it seems like at this point. But we've got, them having a match. Maybe AJ Styles brings Finn Balor up from NXT to be his partner, sort of like them building this sort of a dream team, a lot like Y2AJ. And then Finn Balor joins up with the Balor Club with Machine Gun Carl Anderson and Doc Gallows, and boom! They turn on AJ Styles. That could happen. So maybe AJ's not destined to be a part of the Money in the Bank match, even though in a lot of people's mind, this is a match that's made for him. So I wish I had answers. I don't really have answers. At this point, Kevin Owens is the guy that I'm really rooting for to win this match. I think that he having the briefcase definitely would fit his persona. Definitely that briefcase would look more beat up than Seth Rollins' last year, which definitely would be a hard task to follow, seeing how beat up that one used to be. Even The Miz's. The Miz, right out of the gate, he hit the skull-crushing finale on Sheamus, and that thing had a huge dent in it for a long time. I love the fact that, how they don't ever improve the briefcase. It doesn't really, change week to week. If it gets beat up, it gets beat up, because they try to make it seem like the briefcase is the briefcase. And without that briefcase, it's worthless. Sort of like the Seth Rollins and Dean Ambrose feud, where Dean Ambrose stole the briefcase and made it happen. But we'll see what happens. I'm rooting for Owens. Who you guys got? See you guys down the road. Also, who do you guys think is going to be filling out those last 2 spots? Because as I said, I got no clue.